Hi, my name's Metcalfe. I've been getting some questions recently about why I only use basic exercises when I'm doing my strength training, and it's very rare that you'll see me doing anything too complex. So I'm going to address that in this video. Now, just to be clear from the outset, we're talking about strength exercises, and strength is about developing the force or the tension that the muscles can produce. Now, with regards to all strength exercises, there are two components. There is the force and tension component, which is what we're trying to develop, but there's also a skill component to the exercise itself, the actual doing of the exercise. And learning that skill is what we call motor learning. Okay, we look at an example of somebody, a novice, who is going to do the clean exercise, the Olympic lift where you lift the barbell from the floor, up to the shoulders. That is a very skillful movement, and it requires a lot of learning to be able to become super efficient at doing that exercise. So if we were to just look at the weight that's being lifted as a metric of an increase in strength, what we're going to see over a period of time, over several weeks, is the weight going up. But what we don't know is whether that is the actual result of the force of the muscle improving, or whether it is actually the athlete becoming more skillful and more efficient at lifting that weight, i.e. for the same amount of force the muscles produce, they can lift more weight. So that's why I keep the skill level of my strength exercises down to a minimum, and then any increases in performance I know are going to be largely down to increases in muscle force or muscle tension, which is the goal of the exercises. So this generally is the opposite of what I see on social media these days, where there's a trend to increase the complexity. And it sure looks good, there's no doubt about it. On YouTube and Instagram, there's a lot of complex exercises which make for great viewing. But for me, there's too much skill involved, and it would require me to spend and invest too much time learning a skill that I'm not going to use elsewhere in sport or in life. And also it muddies the waters with regards to whether or not any improvements are down to me improving my skill or me improving my strength. So I often see this issue creeping into training design as well, especially when somebody hits a strength training plateau and their strength hasn't increased for several weeks. What they tend to do is swap in a new exercise for the same body part, and then they'll see an increase in their strength performance. This is largely down to learning the new skill of the new exercise. And you can easily test this in my experience with clients and myself. If you go back and do the original exercise, there's been no increase in strength, and sometimes there can actually be a regression. The reason you've hit a plateau is typically down to a lack of recovery, but that is for another video. And for similar reasons, I'm not a big fan of sports loading, such as using sporting movements to increase strength and maybe adding extra resistance as a tool to increase strength. There's far too much of a skill element in there for me to be sure that any improvements are coming from the force and the tension side of things. So my philosophy towards strength exercise selection is quite straightforward. I use simple exercises to develop the tension and the force capabilities of the muscles, and then I apply that strength to my sport or activities that I choose to do. I don't do it the other way around. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and please subscribe to my channel.